Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We're back. It's good to be back on the 3:30 day after the show broadcast schedule. After Europe, it's been a couple of months since we did one of these on the Eastern time zone. So it's pretty nice, and we had a pretty fun time last night. Obviously, we got four of us here today. How are you gentlemen doing?
Oh, I've had better days. I'm a little tired.
Yeah. It's taken the entirety of the day to rehydrate, replenish fluids, and that's been my pursuit today.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was an excellent time last night.
You weren't drinking fluids last night? I saw you drink a lot of fluids.
Yes.
Non-hydrating fluids.
Yeah.
Non-hydrating fluids.
Yes. You got to life is about balance,
Exactly. Well, as I'm sure most people watching or listening saw or heard, last night was crazy. They put on a hell of a show for the first night of Goosemas. Really excited for tonight, but I'm really excited to dive in to last night. But let's talk a little bit about the vibe pre-show before we get into the show itself. I think the four of us we were together in the loge, Peter's side, wearing our Blame Vickers shirts. Shout out to Vickers. It's almost Blame Vickers season, which is very exciting.
Always Blame Vickers season.
It is, but it's especially Blame Vickers season during the bracket, which is just a few weeks away, which is a whole nother story. But last night was amazing. Getting into the venue, people were just so excited. The place was packed. People wearing costumes and bubble guns and stickers that some were taken away by the venue security, which was...
I was a victim of this crime.
They took
some were fine, some weren't.
They took my Beekeeper's Naturals propolis spray, and that's why my voice is sounding like this today, because I haven't had that. I'm very, very, very upset about this.
Lisa should call the venue and get that propolis back.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Or you can just order some today. Use code StormSound for 25% off.
Thank you, Neil. So it was amazing. Vibes were high. What were you guys feeling before the show started?
I mean, the vibes have been high, like sky high. We're leaving out a very important part here, which is night zero. And night zero was amazing. Performance by you, Ryan, and Mike Morosky and Cam. And so, I mean, that started really everything on this trip so far. It was so much fun. Everybody was, handing out hugs, giving each other slaps, not physical slaps, but actual stickers. They weren't taken away by that venue. And yeah, it just feels like this giant community all of a sudden. There's something about this venue and the way the hotels are situated. It just feels like we're all together, even though I think the four of us are all staying in different places for the most part. But yeah, so vibes were really high night zero, carried into yesterday. The weather's beautiful. Folks
Colonialism.
I went to Williamsburg yesterday with Danny. We did a little bit of tourist stuff, and oh man, it was awesome. So we did that, hung out with Misty and Katie and my cousin Lucas, who was also here. It was a really, really good time. And then just slid right into just venue partying and like an actual real lot scene. This is something. I don't think I've ever seen the Goose lot that looks like this. So all kinds of cool shit happening, man. The vibes are through the friggin' roof.
Yeah, for us Northerners too, it was nice it's nice to be a little warmer weather here, 60s, 50s. Today. You were rocking shorts?
Today I'm wearing shorts. Oh yes.
That a boy.
A lot of confidence you have there, Ryan.
Yeah, like a true Canadian. But I can only piggyback on what Neil said. Just wonderful energy. I think this is a great event for them every year, where so many people from around the country get together, and we see a lot of the friends that we've made recently or met online or putting faces to names. It was just wonderful energy the whole night. Leading up to it, easy. I think lines moved efficiently as well, getting in. Ended up in a no bag line, which was not ideal, but then we made it in with the bag, so it was okay. And yeah, getting to the seats, I thought really, really nice, good energy. And we were just excited for what was to come.
Yeah. Kev, anything else to add there?
No, man. I mean, you guys created an excellent picture there. Just the community walking around with haps the last couple of days, just everybody being here and just being very open and excited. And, it's just a very positive place to be. And just the night zero show that you did, Ryan, how much money did you guys end up raising?
I think it was around $8,500 when all said and done. I think the fundraiser is still open if you want to donate more to Conscious Alliance. But it was incredible. Thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to everybody who donated. It was so much fun. Thank you to Mike,
awesome.
Kevin, and Greg for putting it all together. The list goes on. But yeah, that was an amazing way to kick off the weekend. We also had a meeting for the first time of hashtag Team Goose Ryan FTW. Shout out to Molnar and Legvold who are in the chat today. It was great. Legvold was so excited he forgot to type team.
Getting the team ready.
Let's get down to business here. Let's start the show. We'll go our first two songs here, Earthlinger Alien and All I Need. Some might say the Earthlinger Alien was the easiest 8-pointer of the year, and some didn't put it on their picks because they forgot about it.
Too many songs.
Too many songs.
It's an incredible failure.
Yeah, and we saw it was just you couldn't really pick a lot of the set list with the themes. I thought it opened really well, fitting, Earthling, short, punchy, 10 minutes. Good little collab, and what it really allowed was us to see the rig that Getty had set up. They had some sort of stage installations. We saw these like pillars and sort of these crystals and a little bit of tinfoil wrapped bass, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, once the music started and Getty got to show us what he was working with, it was wonderful. Sort of had a nice V sort of I guess like wall of lights, if you may, LEDs that were sort of funneling into the stage, and just great production. Yeah, I thought the energy was awesome. And then we got the slow into fast. So we sort of started to see some themes of the slow fast. Yep, themes. But I've been clamoring for a fast All I Need forever for myself personally. So I loved that. Came out of the first verse slow and melodic, and then made the transition into the fast for the second verse and the rest of the jam. So super, super fun, super cool, and like something different.
Yeah, and it was cool, nice little peak jam in the All I Need as well. Again, easing in, nothing crazy off the deep end in the second song. Obviously, we're going to get to the, huge jam of the night after this, but this was an excellent, way to kick things off. Show that, first of all, there's going to be some set list trickery happening. And second of all, just be like, we're feeling good. Everyone's back in their full rigs after Europe. This is the first headlining U.S. show since Fort Collins in October. So it's been a little while. Peter seemed very happy to be back on the, the full organ, the
full setup,
having, the Prophet synth back in his rig. So it was great to see them, back in there wearing the space suits, Rick, sunglasses Rick, mustache Rick,
cutoffs, Trev and Ben. Yeah, everybody was working it.
I didn't notice the cutoffs thing, and the fact that Ben was wearing cutoffs. Drumming in cutoff jeans has to be...
sorry,
cut off sleeves.
Cut off sleeves. Okay, I thought you were talking like Bobby Weir cut off jeans.
No.
Which is the thing that's been done. They did it in Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's Inception.
Meta. Yeah. So yeah, pretty solid. I thought.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. The Earthlinger Alien was fun. Everybody knew that was coming. All I Need was awesome. I mean, it was short, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff they're capable of doing. They rarely do anything like this. And yeah, it was really, really cool. I do like the fast All I Need. It's super fun.
Yeah.
And like when that kicked in, I was having a blast. It's a super danceable song.
And you could almost feel the energy in the place at that point just kind of explode.
Yeah,
that was something.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then after the All I Need, we get the jam of the
Shocker.
out of nowhere. Obviously, we saw the kind of crystals, and the mirrors theme came about with Mirrors by Justin Timberlake, which I don't think anyone would have seen coming last night, which was so cool. Super unique cover choice, and to then jam it for 23 minutes. And throughout this jam, they start off in this very Eugene Bourne like space. In my opinion, at least, like that was to my ears, that kind of like,
liquidy Trevor,
groove where they're just letting it breathe. Lots of space. It was very, very Ted Tapes feeling. I would say we had some themes in there that are Camino adjacent.
They felt very directly Camino-ish.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it contains elements of Camino, but it contains elements similar to Camino.
Yes, we're gatekeeping.
Inspired by
Caminos.
That's a footnote on the set list. Contains elements similar to Camino.
Similar to.
But this was an amazing jam.
Let's all take a moment right now to welcome Trevor's new bass.
Yeah, so he actually used that bass for at least one show in 2019. It was the Pizza in the Park show in early summer
New York,
2019. He did use that bass, but yeah, it's an Elric, just like his other one that he's his main one that he's had for the last few years. But it's cool to see him switch it up a little bit, and he was sounding unbelievable last night. Oh man,
Indeed.
Yeah,
Trevor.
Agreed. I thought it was the Mirrors pick was fun and surprising, and then to see everybody singing it in the venue was pretty sweet. I saw somebody make a post that was like, it was wild to see like lawyer doctor type dudes singing Justin Timberlake, and your standard stereotypical look maybe, and it was just this blend of people sort of being immersed in the experience. And like you said too, I thought the entry into the jam was wonderful. Sort of had that, and that's what we want. We want like something to breathe right away, and be patient with it rather than kind of rushing through something. And they just took their time with it. A lot of Trevor, some synths, and then just continued to build. Great sustain from Rick on a note that was like a nice peak, and like you said, the Camino funk section or almost the faster section. Sorry, the part 2 almost, where it sort of was the peak of that TED tape. And so, yeah, I really liked it. It was kind of just what is going on here throughout, which is what you want. You kind of are. We see a lot of the same songs, yes, and it's like, oh, it's nice when it's fun and unique, but it's also cool when we get a fresh new take on something. And this was, a great example of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also really, really like Peter's use of synth. I mentioned he's very happy to have his Prophet back, and you could tell there were some amazing textures he was laying down on that. We had some sirens coming in as well. There's a lot to dig into in this jam, and I'm excited to see kind of where it ends up falling on my playlist. But it's definitely, I think this is a top half of the playlist jam for sure. And I'm really excited to give it repeated listens over the next.
Not for meal maybe, but that's okay.
It must be Goosemas if we're just like hasty ranking the shit out of jam. So I feel like that's what's happening now. And
it's going to happen tonight too.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's got to be something big tonight, though. This was the big surprise, right? Last night also happened to be the jam highlight of the show. I mean, it is good. I will say that. I don't know if I like it as much as everybody else, but we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
The initial glow, I agree, Neil. It might have sort of some spaces that we analyze a little differently, but that's always sort of what'll happen, right? We kind of, it's the excitement, the being there, the attendance bias, which we can acknowledge, and so it's trying to let it settle. But it was good. It was a very, very good part of the show.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Jive Goose, who could not be on the pod today, but he's running the setlist thread over on Twitter this weekend, and he said before the show that there would be no hasty ranking, and yet he hasty ranked anyway. Neil, thank you for calling him out on that.
Hey, we always agree, except for when we don't, and this might be one of those situations. I don't know.
And so, can I tell a quick story?
Yeah,
just like 20 seconds. So I am moving around in the room, and I'm not like being fidgety or anything like that. Like right before we started potting, they blew up my hotel bathroom. And so I've been navigating ways to like get out of the stream of that smell. And so that's why I've been moving around as I have been.
Okay.
Carry on.
It's a
Thank you.
That's why I
realistic
went out
depiction
into
of
the
tour
fresh
life
air.
right now.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Kev. And then
Apologies.
so after Mirrors, we get the vibey into regular tumble. It was my first time seeing this live. This is, in my opinion, the perfect tumble. I love the vibey so much, and then they just, take their time with that, jam that out a little bit, and then go right into the regular tumble jam, which, similar to last year's Goosemas one, just blowing up the energy. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Great peaks. Tumble's always really fun. It's really interesting because, earlier this year we had some really, really big jammed out versions of Tumble, like the New Orleans and Cathead. But recently it's just kind of been this like fiery, punchy, big peaky jam, which is still great. But this was an awesome choice. And then I figured the set might be wrapping up there. But then we got Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson, another amazing cover, the second cover debut last night. And it was, I loved this choice to close out the set. I loved, the getting into the theme, and I loved the way that Rick sounded singing this one.
Yeah,
I agree. Go ahead, Neil.
Go ahead, Daniel.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say, this is yet another example of Rick being able to sing any song. Like singing Michael Jackson, not easy. And they did it. Is a really bizarre choice. It fits the theme, but like when you think about Michael Jackson songs over the years, like Man in the Mirror is not one that's like coming to the top of the list,
No.
or at least in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, Rick absolutely nailed it. There is no cover that Rick can't do. I think we've learned that time and time again.
The lyrics are profound, Neil. They prompt you to reflect on who you are.
Yeah, and change
and controlling your own circumstances and your own improvement. Yeah. It's inspiring, really.
Yeah, new lease on life after the last night's show. This is going to change everything. But backing up a step, the Vibey Tumble, super grateful for that because that was also my first Vibey Tumble. And if you're going to do the Tumble, just slap on the actual jam on the back end of it. Like, hell yeah, dude. That's the fucking best of both worlds. Like, how could you go wrong there?
Yeah.
So, absolutely great shit. Yep.
Yeah. It was really great. I do actually want to notice, we forgot to talk about, they started 8 minutes after ticket time.
Yeah,
that
was impressive.
Big hand to,
an American record, as you said.
Yeah, whether Sam King had to use like a cattle prod to get Rick in the shower on time. But just like kudos to Sam and kudos to the band for, bringing that back from Europe. They may not have had the early curfew tonight, but we really appreciated that they went on, earlier. Like we were sitting there, we got into the venue and we were like, great, we're going to go on
another hour plus.
And then when at 8, Getty and Loomis were out at the boards already. Just, super, super excited to see this happen. I hope we get a timely start again tonight. But shout out to the band for doing that. That was great.
Yeah, it was a good end of the set, though. Agreed. I like the slow fast combination. I might have seen it another time before, but caught the first one in Caverns, and it's cool to see how they are utilizing that. I like it paired with the full jam, and I thought it was just kept the energy going coming off the Mirrors. It was a really good 1-2 punch, and then ending ending the set with another theme-based song. Like we said, another debut. Thought he did lyrics justice. It was pretty straightforward in terms of the song. Didn't really get pulling it out like we've seen other newer covers, but yeah, it was good cap. Kind of, I think, left everybody with like, what the fuck was just that? What the fuck just happened?
It was crazy. And then
it was great.
We had some appropriately themed step break music, kind of hinting what was to come. We had some Fire theme song. They did Firework by Katy Perry. Fire on the Mountain by the Grateful Dead, which when it started, everyone cheered, which was pretty funny. But they come out for the second set. We have this little bit of spaceship narration, which I feel like similar to last year's Goosemas, where some of the banter was a little bit lost in the bigger room, harder to hear. So we couldn't really understand as well what the recording was saying, but obviously we figured what we figured, the gist of it based on context. But second set's theme was Fire, opening up debut of Fire by Jimi Hendrix, Jeff on vocals,
Jeb.
like pyrotechnics happening everywhere.
Pyrotechnics, big fireworks, man. That
This
was awesome.
Amazing. Absolutely loved this cover. Love Jeff getting more opportunities to sing, standing
Let
up,
Jeff sing.
having a great time there. But I love this choice to open the second set here.
Oh yeah, move over, Rover. Let Jeffrey take over. I mean, he was
Yeah.
really he was leaning into it, changed the lyrics and everything. But
Yeah.
I was excited for this one because I just wanted to see what would happen with Rick trying to play a Hendrix solo. I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good job.
Yeah.
And
It was
then
good. So he got the energy going again.
Exactly. And then we get Creatures, which was kind of the big jam of the second set here. We get your typical Creatures peak. And then there's a really, really cool, like the last 5 minutes or so of this jam, there's some amazing rhythmic stuff. And one of those rare occasions where Goose is jamming without, Rick soloing or leading, or Peter soloing or leading. They were all just in the groove, a little bit of interplay happening, but taking their time with it. And I love moments like that. The full band jamming is really what we're after. And that's the most difficult thing about improvisational music, is being able to get to that space where it's not one person soloing and one person leading. You're all democratically, being a part of the whole there. And so you had a great few minutes in this Creatures. Shout out to Spuds here. Really the backbone of this segment. We talked a lot in Europe about how he's being more aggressive, he's driving jams, and this was definitely the case in last night's Creatures, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
version.
everybody's talking about mirrors today, and like in the same conversation should be this Creatures. This Creatures is very, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like many Creatures, you get a really long segment that is just what we expect to be typical of Creatures. But then you get like a really nice chunk in the back half, like you were saying, Ryan. And in the moment, I was absolutely loving this. Killer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kept on with, as we've said, last couple versions of Creatures, the few we saw in Europe, even back to Chicago, the Solstice show, and trying to do something a little different. I know I had been talking about it, but yeah, they can have that sort of 8 to 10 minute type 1 peak, and then rather than just letting it settle, we're seeing, and it almost sounded like too there was a little bit of a Shama vibe too, I thought, at least in the Creatures, where it right before, kind of surprising, and I was like, oh, they're going to settle it here, unfortunately, back into Shama, but kept going, kept pushing, and like you said, it's nice, yeah, just sort of the whole band chugging along, nobody really trying to step out or be the central focus of the jam, but just the whole machine moving along. And yeah, kept the set going. My highlight of the second set for sure as well. And I think it could, pip the mirrors in the end, but we'll have to see.
Kev, what you got?
I love dubstep.
And dogs.
Dogs.
That's how he feels.
It was amazing.
Thank you, Kev, as always, for the eloquent analysis. And then from Creatures, we move into Dawn. Yes, the first ever standalone Dawn with no SOS. It was really funny. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big stickler for the Dawn is not a separate song from SOS. Is a part of
it. Is now. It is now.
You know what? Being next to our good friend B. Dunn, who is probably the biggest proponent of Dawn being a separate song, when the band went into it, was pretty funny. I did feel, though, it felt weird not having SOS first. I feel like it's necessary to set up the Dawn. I feel like the initial drop into the song doesn't have the same effect without the kind of beginning part. But the peak was awesome, and it was funny setting up Sex on Fire that was going to come next. Peter, as Rick is soloing through the peak at the end, Peter had strapped on his guitar and he he was playing organ with one hand and he was tuning his guitar with the other hand in the middle of the song. I thought that was hilarious. He's playing, and every so often he's like looking back at his tuner, tweaking a knob. So it was pretty funny to see that. And then Sex on Fire afterwards.
Jerry probably never was able to do that.
No, probably not.
Playing keys too.
Shout out to
Lucas.
Shout out to Lucas, who had asked Garrett to make an AI version of Rick singing that song earlier this week, and has been calling for Goose to cover this song for a couple of months now. So he was very excited.
That was cool.
This cover, I thought it was really, really fun. More pyrotechnics. I thought it was just a great time. But yeah, who wants to talk about Dawn and Sex on Fire here?
I will. I'll jump in here and just kind of respond to this comment. So I'm curious if folks at home felt the same about Sex on Fire as folks in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But in the room, it was hot. I mean, people were going crazy. There was the full crowd sing along, and it almost like there were a couple times last night where it almost felt like a different band, where it was like you're going to a show where like people are all singing along in like an arena, like, which is not Goose, right? It's decidedly not Goose. It's not a thing that is typical, but it was happening last night, happened with Man in the Mirror, and happened with this. And yeah, I think in the room it hit. Maybe it didn't hit at home on the stream, but I thought it was pretty awesome. It's weird cover choice, but
very.
Also,
just like the rest of them, but played the themes, obviously.
Exactly.
Kind of a theme on the night. And then, the solo Dawn was cool. I mean, it didn't do anything that Dawn doesn't typically do, but it is always a welcome vibe in a set. So killer. And I don't think we'll see any part of that SOS coming back tonight. Like, I think we're going full steam ahead. And in fact, I was thinking about what the set list could be tonight, and it's just a total mystery because you're going to get not nearly as many Goose songs as you would expect.
I'm thinking that one of the sets tonight is going to be water related. And the other one, I don't know.
Earth or something?
Could be.
Landing back.
Jungle.
Forest planet.
Yeah.
Animal.
Forest moon.
We definitely have two more planets that we have to explore.
Yeah.
And we'd also like to thank Goose for doing 4 planetary sets. So we now have region names for the bracket.
Yeah. Well, you don't speak too soon. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly. Maybe there's not 2 more, but in theory, we now have our bracket region names, which is great because we were puzzling that over like a week ago.
So let me pose a question here.
Yes.
Do we believe there will be Christmas music tonight?
No.
Will they touch on?
I don't think so, man.
I am not convinced we're getting Linus and Lucy, and that would make this, it's Goosemas 10. This would be the first Goosemas with no Linus and Lucy. It seems Christmas is not the theme of this year's Goosemas.
And Brendan mentioned it earlier. I think it would be interesting if they encored with a couple Christmas songs, just as like a here you go.
So that's why I think it's still a possibility. But going into yesterday, I was still thinking, like, obviously they're going to play Linus and Lucy because it's Goosemas. But, at this stage,
we don't know.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So back to this set here. Our last 3 songs of the second set, we've got Butter Rum, we've got Arrow, and we've got Burning Down the House. Rum, nice sing-along, as you talked about, Neil. That was kind of the vibe last night at this point in the show. Nice little jam here. 2023 Butter Rum has consistently been very, very groovy. I hear there were a couple of conga lines that got started. I know Vickers did one. I got
on the floor,
do one for a couple of seconds despite his reluctance. But that was fun. And then Arrow came out, solid version, nothing crazy, nice little momentum behind the jam. Neil will talk for much longer than me about that Arrow, I'm sure. As he tends to do. And then, Matt Costello. Anyone catch the Eminence front tease before Burning Down the House?
Oh, we did.
I feel like there was Eminence front themes and teases like throughout the show, like not just in that one spot. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen and notate, but I feel like they were playing with it like all night.
Maybe they'll play it tonight.
And I'll show you guys later how confident I felt that they were playing with it.
He's got it high.
I got it high, man. Yeah.
I got it high.
Rolling the dice, rolling bones tonight, baby.
Hey,
boy.
Maybe
it's on the
Lily's Tiger
Okay.
for Juzzle and Eminence Front for Jeffy,
Everybody.
me, and everyone else. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I thought
think everybody
end of the
wants those
show.
too. Yep.
Yeah, end of the show. If you're gonna pick holes for sure, this is the area of the show of the set that was burning down the house, which they had last played in 2017 May or something,
Yes,
right?
5/2017 is the last recorded time.
So,
I did see Coach after the show last night, and he mentioned that like they used to do it all the time with their old keyboardist Chris Junker, which makes me think there are a number of other performances in 2016, 2017
maybe
don't have the set list for. So we don't have an official show gap on
Speculation of guests tonight. Is Adam Duritz going to sit in?
We're not there yet, Kev.
Is Evanescence? Are they going to sit in? I don't know.
Who's on the roster?
Yeah.
No, I thought, but my last piece, I thought the Arrow was pretty good again. Kind of kept with the pattern of 2023, producing some decent jams. It was short, didn't kind of got out there and pretty hot. More pyrotechnics during the Arrow with the FIO, and that was probably of the last three songs. Exactly, FIO Fire. Was my highlight of the end for sure. I mean, definitely not as strong as the top, but yeah, just kept it going. Just sort of ended the night really well with the theme, and then burning down the house, of course.
A lot of themes last night.
Theming.
Yeah, a lot of themes. Well, strap in because I want to talk about this Arrow.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, buddy.
Right on cue.
Yep.
I wish I'm really sad that Jive isn't here because this would be the perfect opportunity
Just scoffing
for the patented Jive Goose scoff.
Yeah, it's probably for the better that he's not here because we would not be agreeing on much about this show. So I don't know. Stay tuned. We'll eventually recap this maybe on a pod, and then you can listen to me and Jive argue about.
But you liked it, Neil?
Literally everything. Be liked what?
You liked the Arrow?
I don't know if you like the Arrow. We haven't talked about it, but in the moment, I really like this Arrow.
I said you.
Oh, did I like the Arrow? Yeah, good Arrow.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm supposed to say when we talk about Arrow.
Yeah, just you, not Brian.
No, but in the moment, Ryan was standing next to me for it, right? Weren't you next to me for that part? Yeah, I was
making fun of you for fluffing it.
Well, no, that was the hot tea, which we'll get to.
Both, actually.
Yeah. But we can't immediately dismiss these songs. They are capable of having excellent versions. Arrow had an excellent version this year in Louisville. I think this version not quite as good, but this is in the upper echelon of Arrows on the year. This was a good one. And I haven't gone back to listen to it again, so I'm really just going off of my in the moment feelings. But yeah, so we've got people who agree in chat here.
There we go. I do want to mention on burning down the house. I've heard a lot from people at home that Rick was a little off key at the beginning, which on re-listen that's very apparent. I will say in the room last night, I think everybody was singing so loudly that you couldn't really tell. In the moment.
It didn't matter. And by the end of that song, by the end of that song, that whole place was just exploded, erupted, a lot of energy.
Yeah. It's a good thing that the people who don't like singing along at shows weren't there last night because they would not have liked that.
There was a lot of them. Yeah.
A lot of singing along at the show, and it wasn't just Ryan, or maybe it was Ryan, and he was singing so damn loud it just filled the whole
singing with the power
Hampton
of 3,000 voices.
Yeah, exactly.
One more so slow.
Yeah, the Peter Special encore. This guy was all over this. So ready into slow ready. This is the first time that these songs have been combined. They've never been played back to back before. But I think when they started So Ready, I tweeted it. But we were like, they're gonna do the So song into the slow jam. Which was really cool to see. Part of me is like, I'd love tonight for them to do the inverse. But I think, much like the Dawn, they're going to leave that as a thing for last night. But I would love to see sometime in the future do the slow song with the So jam, with Satellite, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're talking about notating Satellite as a song now. Shit's going off the rails.
It's happened
just
before.
The jam, yeah.
I believe at the Octave in 2018, there are a couple of satellites that are noted on .NET if people are into that sort of thing. But Peter, I said to B, I was
Going
like,
nuts.
Peter must have had like a really light dinner to be able to jump up and down like that
my
for as
God.
long as he did. Like I jumped for like 7 seconds and I'm like, okay, like, back to just regular grooving. But he was just, obviously he's so happy, and the way the hair is right now,
Oh my
it's just bouncing all over the place.
Oh
and
yeah,
it was
his hair
pretty
in hot tea
The
was
one
nuts.
picture,
yeah.
the one picture from Abby Fox has a good picture up there on her Instagram, but it was just like it was the same. Like Madison move on doing Peter's growing hair at Suwannee with Kyle, and this one has potential for more memeable hair because it was just flowing, and he was the same thing. I mean, you can't get mad. He gets to face the crowd with the full setup, like we said, and just keep looping that arpeggiator and just jamming with everybody else. I think he's just in that moment, just like we are, and kind of is totally lost in that space. As always, positivity, Peter positivity
solo, and then we get a hot tea to close it out. Always fun. Neil loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah,
It
Peter
was good. Had a little extra mustard to finish, and as we like to say, encore that shit.
Encore that shit, indeed.
Yeah, that's a killer encore if you really
was.
think about this thing.
Yeah.
Just stacking it up.
Also, encores are back.
Encores are back.
Very exciting.
Yeah, that felt like almost like a 30-minute encore too, right? Or 25 minutes.
It was lengthy. We thought maybe there was an 11:30 curfew based on how early they started, but there was not. It looks like it's midnight. But I love that they no curfew worries last night, which is amazing. After 11 shows in Europe where it was like you don't have a lot of time.
Discos, baby.
Yeah. So it's amazing, and we're back there tonight. We mentioned already, we're thinking a water set, something like that. But I'm hoping, we get at least one more, like bracket worthy jam out of tonight. I think it's going to be obviously it's going to be a blast. It's hard to believe that tonight is the final Goose show of 2023. And we don't know when the next show is going to be. The next show on the calendar is in June. So hopefully we get some dates soon. I know the band definitely needs some time off, but I want to know when I'm seeing them next.
When do we got to start planning?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some dates tonight at Set Break. You never know. But this is a thing that they've historically done, right? Big shows. They announce something else big. They've been very tight-lipped, so it makes you wonder either one of two things are happening: something very big, that they're trying to keep close to the best, or they're going to take a break. And I would be excited about either. Had this conversation a couple times over the past few days. Like, I do think they would benefit from a long break. Like, these guys have played over 160 shows since January of 2022.
Yeah,
that is a shitload of shows. They deserve a break. They got an album coming. I imagine they want to work on that a little bit more. So if they do, I'm not going to be mad. I do love going to see Goose shows, but they got to take a break. I'm fine.
Doesn't hurt the wallet either, when you don't have Goose shows.
Yeah, and then the last time they had a pretty sizable break, they came out of the gate and were playing the best music of their career at that point. During COVID, there was just pretty long stretch of no Goose, and then they came back, and I mean, that late 2020 stuff is outrageously good, and then
2021,
that started all the TED Tape stuff, and so many. It's just so much good stuff came out of that when they're given the opportunity and space to make and create things. So that happens. It happens. Otherwise, maybe it's some giant shows they're going to announce I don't know, larger arenas or
5 nights in SPAC.
Yeah, or something like that. I mean, imagine they're going to do at least 2 shows at SPAC this summer. That would make sense.
That would be great. I'm in. Yeah. But whatever it may be, we're really excited for tonight. To see everyone again, get back to Hampton. I think we're gonna wrap up the pod here. We're gonna go head over, enjoy the weather. Meet up,
show brewskis,
and get ready for the show tonight. And I can't wait. We will be back. TBD whether it will be tomorrow or Monday, but there will be a podcast recapping tonight's show. We stay tuned to our social media for information on when that will be taking place. But thanks everybody for tuning in to this Always Almost There day after show. Hey, they're together now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Always Almost There Day After Show. Enjoy your night, whether you're on the couch or
Have
at
fun
the
tonight.
Jive Goose will be on Twitter again. He was on this morning responding to tweets. So enjoy it while you can. Tonight is the last night that he will be on Twitter until the next time that he's on Twitter. But he's in charge of the set list.
Well said.
If anything goes wrong,
It's going to be his fault. Expect a few loose jabs at some other members of the podcast, some very direct jabs, and then also some really bad takes right from the Always Almost There pod account. So
beautiful.
Some hasty ranks. He's going to do it all.
Beautiful. Well, everyone have a great night, and we will see you next time.